Hello YouTube modelers, welcome back to my channel. I want to thank all my subscribers and viewers for supporting my channel. So here is the progress on the two Lindberg jet kits. Did the preliminary painting. I actually forgot to wash the kits of their release agents, and I did not use primer because I don't have any acrylic primer, but did the preliminary painting like the gray. After the gray is on its way out, this flat gray enamel, because I think some of the paint hardened or clumped together, and I stirred it back in and it's kind of gritty because there's some like sandy texture to it. But it is a military, so I don't really care. It doesn't have to be smooth, but it is on its way out. See how gritty it is? Some of the paint has started to clump, and then I stirred it back in, but it will not dissolve. So this will probably be the last kit I paint with that gray. Should be smooth, but for military it's not bad. So here are the preliminary nose cones for the Phantom. You can choose either one. This is something funny I want to show you guys. Both are supposed to be 1/72 scale, but the one on the right is for the Skyhawk. So the pilot looks like it's 6'9", and the two pilots for the Phantom look like they're 4'10". So I know these kits are on the old side because 1966 release. But still, whoever did the measurements for this one did not do a good job. So Lindberg, up your game. I actually would not have bought this kit if it wasn't really cheap at Ollie's, because Lindberg kits when I was growing up was known for their sturdiness and play value, but detail is not that high. So as far as landing gears go, I painted the piston for the landing gear, the tires, the interior. I decided to sand some of the grittiness down, so that's why it looks like that, but it's fine. This is going to be in the inside anyway. The wheels are white. The front nose gear. So that's pretty much it. Inside of the landing gear doors. So I'm doing both at the same time. So here is the acrylic military plain flat paints, the paint set. Here is the acrylics. Hopefully this does not have much of an odor. Also picked up some scribing tools and some seam to shave this seam scraper. What's the other one? Putty applicator. So that's where I am now. So I will probably start assembling them, because on a plane, similar to a car where it's engine and interior first, it's always cockpit first, and then you glue the fuselage halves together. So I'm going to start gluing everything together and then airbrush the exterior, the part that you see. So that's where I am now. Hello everyone, it's time for a mail call. Received a shop card from Jeff, the bearded guy. Nice card. He builds mostly cars, trucks. I think he is working on Mustang 2. He finished an Impala Gasser. But also you can see the one-to-one cars he's working on, and also what he has on the grill or in the oven, whether it be peach cobbler or ribeye steak. So thanks for the card, Jeff, and for the encouraging words in the back. Also received a sticker. Love the beard because I can never grow one myself. So I'm going to have a link in the description. Go check them out if you haven't done so already. Alright, I also received a shop card from Mark. He's one of our buddies from up north in Canada. Like his card, looks like a 70s or early 70s Chevelle, kind of. His channel is pretty diverse. I mean, Mark builds cars, trucks, motorcycles, houses, scale model houses, and also you might even learn how to install rafters and roofs. Also works on ships. So go check out his channel if you haven't done so already. Pretty cool channel, diverse content, and I will leave a link to his channel in the description. Received a card from Mark Huber. Mark from Montana. Like his shop card that looks like what I think maybe a Sopwith Camel. I don't know. But he does like his World War I aircraft. And he also builds figures around that time period as well of the pilots, or as I like to call them, Knights of the Skies. So go check out his channel if you haven't done so already. I will have a link to his channel in the description. And thanks, Mark, for the encouraging words in the back. Thanks a lot for the card. Alright, so the planes are assembled and ready for spray painting. Here's the Skyhawk. Everything's assembled, canopy is covered, and I gently tape the landing gear doors closed so you can spray it. It's much easier. I did not connect the payload. These are connected, will be sprayed separately because it will interfere with the decal, plus you won't be able to spray the top. It'll just be a little easier. I did put in the center one, but all the ones on the wing mounted missiles and everything will be spray painted separately because sometimes the decal needs to go underneath. But usually there's no decals in the center. That's why the fuel tank is there. Maybe I should have kept it off. But anyway, these are ready to spray. Missiles. And here are the landing gears. Will be added later. And of course, it came with the canopy. And then the Phantom. I'm going to spray the bottom first. The top will be sprayed camo. That's why I attached the stick to the top. Couldn't stick it up the nozzle, the jet nozzle. And of course the fuel tanks will be added separately. Same thing. Don't interfere with the decal placement. Good news, since my last video, I waited until the weekend, went on their website, requested a canopy, sent in the UPC and the receipt, and today I received the canopy piece. So that was less than a week. Upon contacting them, they sent it to me within 2 or 3 days. So round 2 is pretty fast. Turns out it is a round 2. It says it right here. I just didn't see it. And it is a 2015, I believe. Right here, 2015. I think they support kits 2005 and after. So, good news, I got the part. And of course, this is the nose cone, nozzles, and the landing gear will be added later. Skyhawk has a cute little nose cone. So those I leave off until I'm done spraying. I just took a whiff of this dinner, and it basically smells like rubbing alcohol, so I probably could have just used rubbing alcohol instead of this. Sometimes as long as you use some kind of thinner that evaporates, like craft paint, you can use Windex, and acrylic you can use rubbing alcohol. I guess it should be fine, but we'll see how it goes. So it's too late in the day to spray paint today, so maybe I'll wait for the daytime, and that's where I am right now. Alright, so I just finished airbrushing my 2 jet planes. Here they are. One's in gray and one's in camo. I did the camo freehand. I'll show you guys in detail, but pretty much everything is sprayed. This is my air booth. Compressor. I have to clean it. I disconnected the hose. The hose is right there. And it's at a slant and I have nowhere to support my elbows because by the time I bend the tubing, it just barely makes it out the window. But I'm using acrylic anyway, so so it shouldn't really smell too much anyway. So I think if anything, it just smells like a light hint of rubbing alcohol, but pretty much everything is going along as planned. Alright, so I'm done with the airbrushing. This is what the plane looks like. Did the camo freehand, sprayed the bottom gray. There was some serious bleed through because I think the paint, I made it too watery and it kind of seeped in through the panel lines. So I had to hand brush or touch up. So one side you can tell has some minor marks, while the other side is nice and smooth like it should be from a good airbrush job. This side I hand painted or touched up, and the acrylic did fairly well covering up, but just not as smooth as the other side. Here's the camo, the fuel tanks. This is the Skyhawk. It's a navy plane, so it's more simple, no camo. Just bottom is Tamiya white, and the top is that light ghost gray with white flaps. The only thing is the camo, I kind of sprayed little circles because it's kind of hard to draw lines as if you were hand brushing it. And then when I sprayed both with a acrylic matte clear coat, it kind of looked like white milky. Where is it? This one? I would think it would look like polyurethane or clear, but it's actually kind of white and milky. So I guess it's supposed to dry, or maybe that just is the concentrated portion, but there is some white. So I'll somehow get rid of it later during the weathering process. And that's where I am now. So I just would detail paint it, paint the flat black anti-glare, paint the canopy frame, and then glue the landing gears. Alright, so both jets are fully assembled. Just want to show you what it looks like before the decals. I will be attaching fuel tanks, bombs, and rocket tubes. After the decals, because sometimes on the wing, the decal may go first and then this goes over it. So that's where I am now. Alright, so here we are at the final reveal. So in summary, it was a decent kit. I wouldn't pay over $10 for it, and I'm glad that I got back into 1/72 scale, because not only did the project seem more manageable because of a small scale, but also your workbench automatically seems larger because this kit is so small. It doesn't take up that much room. But the fine detail is a little bit hard on your eyes to focus on. But I wouldn't pay more than $10 for this kit. If it wasn't at Ollie's, I probably would not have picked it up, but I'm glad I revisited 1/72 scale. So here they are. Throughout the process, I just think of it as trying to make the best out of a flank or chuck steak and trying to make it into an expensive cut of meat. So with some work, you can actually make it look half decent. So most of these kits are mostly airbrush with flat paint. I think overall it went well. Once you get the mixture right and dialed in, it went fairly enjoyable. But when it starts clogging, it's not so enjoyable. But of course I still have to touch up, and I think flat acrylic is pretty easy to touch up because there's a new bottle that I started. I think the Skyhawk, which is a gray one, came out a little better than the Phantom. Something about the proportions of the Phantom just didn't seem right. So let's take a look at the gray one. The came with dive brakes or air brakes, so I accentuated that. I left it slightly open. The decals, they don't provide you under the wing for the squadron number, so that's on the right side. There's nothing underneath. But on the left side, that's why you sometimes have to put the decal in first before putting in the armaments. So, for example, the 340 AH is missing, but I did spray a matte clear coat and black washed it with flat paint afterwards to give it that worn-in look. If you're ambitious, you can actually try cutting the canopy and then displaying it open, but I just left it as is. There is no cockpit detail, no instrument panel, but if you get a kit like a Fujimi or a Hasegawa, you might get better detail, but the essential of the kit is there. So this is the bottom. It came with the bomb load. My hands are not so steady, so yellow line is not as crisp and clean and straight as I would have wanted it to be. I didn't feel like masking it. Rocket tubes. But here is the inaccuracies. I mean, it's okay, but look, the front landing gear. The strut is behind the main landing gear strut, the front one, but the wheel should actually be pointing rearward, like a trailing arm, like a caster wheel, but it doesn't. It faces forward, so that's not accurate. But overall, it was fun. Did the best I could with what I got. As far as the Phantom, I think the Skyhawk came out better than the Phantom. The Phantom, I don't know, some of the proportions are off. I don't know. I think this kit came out in, what do you say, 1966. So maybe the way they designed it or the information that was available back then wasn't quite that accurate, but something about the Phantom is slightly off. But like I said, I did the best I can. I think the camo came out fairly well with the matte clear coat. The decals don't shine as much. And I black washed it. Let's take a look underneath. Made it look dirty. Something about the main landing gear, I think it's too small, I don't know. But again, no cocktail detail, so just the pilots. They give you the Marine option as well, but I opted for the Air Force. I believe these are Air Force insignias or decal or markings. But that's pretty much it. I mean, the airbrushing was nice to use it. I end up spraying the camo pattern in a small circle as opposed to as if I was hand brushing it and trying to draw the outline. I started out small because eventually you will have to make it bigger because sometimes it does spiderweb on you. But once, like I said, once you get the mixture going, then it's fairly easy once it's dialed in. So just to give you a little bit of history, the Skyhawk, the gray one, it is a subsonic light attack plane. It was built small because they wanted a plane that was low operating cost, and some of the carriers were still World War II era, so because it's small and it's not as powerful, it doesn't require as much room to take off and land. So that's the reason why it's a smaller craft, but it was very successful. The F4, much more powerful. Think of it as a big, bulky school bus with two nitrous oxide Hemi engines. So the two General Electric jets just basically get it out of trouble anytime it needed help, because they just punch it and the two gigantic jet engines just propel it to such fast speeds. But I have to say, the Phantom, it's kind of non-aerodynamic, but in a way it's ugly to a point where it's beautiful. I actually do admire those bends and those weird body lines of the Phantom. So these are my two jets that I airbrushed. So I'll have pics at the end, stills, and hope you guys enjoy this build.